Welcome back to the channel. It is a gloomy, stormy Tuesday here in New York, which perfectly matches the absolute storm brewing in Port Charles today. We are diving into Jocelyn's insane Windermere escape and a massive, jaw-dropping basement reveal that changes everything. Let's get into the madness. Oh my God. Stop scrolling right now. I'm literally speechless. Are they for real? Dude, I'm so shocked my jaw literally hit the floor, bounced off the carpet, and rolled under the sofa. I just hit stop on an emergency live stream at 2:00 a.m. because that cliffhanger literally broke my brain, and I desperately need to decompress with you all. We are talking about an absolute paradigm shift in the general hospital simulation. If you thought the Cassius hostage situation was just another run-of-the-mill damsel in distress plot line, you are so deeply, fundamentally wrong. I am spiraling. I am packing my room. I am legitimately questioning my own reality right now because the writers just dropped a nuke on Spoon Island, and the fallout is going to be absolutely toxic. Besties, can we unpack the audacity of this episode? Let's set the stage because the psychological warfare happening right now is a straight-up masterclass in soap opera suspense. Jocelyn Jax is trapped. She is locked in this gothic, suffocating, nightmare-fueled room at Windermere, courtesy of the absolute menace that is Cassius, aka fake Nathan West. We've been watching her pace the floor, trying to figure out a new tactical approach to manipulate the psychopath, and low-key her survival instincts have been absolutely slaying. But get this, while she is plotting her next psychological chess move against Cassius, the audio design shifts. The ambient noise of the island wind dies down, and then tap, tap, tap. A rhythmic hollow sound echoing from behind the solid stone wall of her makeshift prison. I swear, the hair on my arms stood up. It was giving a Major Edgar Allan Poe Telltale Heart vibes, and I was screaming at my screen, I am actually losing my sanity over here. Wait, I need to fully nerd out over the god-tier mechanical execution of this scene for a second. Jocelyn stops. She presses her ear against the freezing damp stone. The camera angles here are so claustrophobic, pulling in tight on her terrified but determined face. She starts running her hands along the mortar searching for any anomaly, and then she finds it, a hidden mechanism. A literal secret lever disguised within the masonry of Windermere's ancient architecture. You know, I am a sucker for the secret passages of Spoon Island. It's a total kinetic child's moment when the gears grind, the dust falls, and this heavy, seemingly impenetrable stone wall just slides open. The sound design of the grinding stone was so visceral. It reveals this pitch-black, terrifying descending staircase into a hidden basement. And then, oh my God, the reveal. The camera pans down into the darkness, the dim light from Jocelyn's room, spilling into the dungeon, and we see a figure. Dude, I'm so shocked my jaw literally hit the floor. Chained to the literal wall, looking like he has survived a literal war zone, is Dex Heller. Yes, facts. No cap, Dex is alive and he's in the Windermere dungeon. I screamed so loud, my neighbors probably thought I was being attacked. Does anyone else feel physically attacked right now? The sheer emotional whiplash of seeing him there, broken, battered, covered in bruises and cuts, but with those eyes still burning with that absolute undeniable defiance. Evan Hofer deserves an Emmy for the look he gave the camera in that split second. It was a mix of total exhaustion, shock, and fierce, unyielding survival instinct. Essentially, this answers the most agonizing question we've had for weeks. Where the hell has Dex been? We all knew his disappearance without a trace wasn't just him skipping town, but to find out he's been rotting in a Cassadine-adjacent dungeon, chained up like an animal by Cassius. It's sickening, it's brilliant, and it is the most diabolical plot twist of the year. I know some people are really enjoying this slow burn mystery, but personally the anxiety of not knowing Dex's fate has been eating me alive. This is just my personal take, and many might disagree, but seeing him in this state, my heart is just shattered. It's a chaotic blur of pixels and tears for me right now. The boy has been tortured, kept in the dark, starved, and completely isolated, yet he hasn't broken. That is my guy right there. Slay King even in chains. But wait, let's dive into the logic behind the magic here. Because the system mechanics of Cassius's master plan are finally coming into focus, and it is terrifying. Why Dex? Why keep him alive? Why chain him up in the basement of the very same estate where he's holding Jocelyn? It's not just random cruelty. It's a calculated high-stakes game of 4D chess. Cassius isn't just obsessed with keeping Rocco's secret or terrorizing Lulu and Dante. He's using Dex as the ultimate trump card to blackmail Sonny Corinthos. Think about it. Sonny is currently losing his absolute mind cross town, holding Rick Lansing at gunpoint, acting on pure paranoia and Ethan Lovett's intel. Sonny's empire is vulnerable because he's distracted, and Cassius knows that Dex is the key to manipulating the mob boss. Dex knows where the bodies are buried, and he is leverage. Hot take incoming, but Cassius is officially the most dangerous villain on daytime TV right now. He is playing everyone. He is playing Dante, he is playing Lulu, he is holding Joss, and he's using Dex to put a chokehold on Sonny. I am screaming. The audacity of this man. He has successfully orchestrated a multi-level hostage situation while maintaining the facade of Nathan West to the outside world for so long. The absolute mess makers in the writing room really cooked with this one, and I am both furious and obsessed. Don't you feel it's so unfair? For Dex and Jocelyn to be the pawns in this massive overarching mob and spy war, don't you think they deserve a break? But no, they are trapped in the belly of the beast, and the stakes have literally never been higher. Now, let's talk about the reunion. The Jax reunion we have been manifesting for months, and it happens in a literal dungeon. The raw, unfiltered emotion in this scene was off the charts. Jocelyn's initial horror melting into this desperate, frantic relief. She rushes to him, her hands hovering over his wounds because she's terrified to hurt him further. Dex barely able to speak, just looking at her like she's an angel who descended into hell. They have had so many misunderstandings, so much baggage, so much angst leading up to his disappearance. But in this moment, all of that is completely erased. None of the past drama matters. It is pure, unadulterated survival and love. They are looking at each other realizing that they are the only hope they have left in the simulation. We are so back. Besties, the Jax agenda is thriving in the darkest of places. Remember when they tried this with Esme Prince? Remember when Nicola's Cassadine kept her locked in the North Tower of Windermere, and it felt so isolated and crazy? Yeah, it went nowhere back then either because it lacked this level of emotional stakes. Or remember when Faison himself used to trap people in subterranean lairs? Is the same tragedy happening to Jocelyn and Dex all over again? Echoing the generational trauma of Port Charles. It is giving me massive flashbacks to the golden era of GH when the villains were truly unhinged and the heroes had to rely purely on their wits to survive. This isn't just a nod to the past, it is an escalation. Cassius is taking the phase on legacy of subterranean torture and elevating it to a modern high-tech psychological nightmare. Also, we need to talk about the absolute impossible lightning reflexes required for them to pull off what comes next. Because this isn't just a tearful reunion, it's a ticking time bomb. Cassius is going to return. They know his schedule. They know he could walk through that door any second. The frantic, breathless energy as Jocelyn starts to yanking at the chains, looking for a weak link, looking for a key, looking for anything. Dex, despite being half dead, is forcing his brain to work, whispering instructions to her, trying to explain the lock mechanism. It is a straight-up masterclass in tension. I was gripping the edge of my desk so hard my knuckles were white. You can literally feel the seconds ticking away. Every scrape of metal, every heavy breath, it all feels so incredibly loud in that silent, stony basement. Wait, I'm getting way too deep in the weeds with the set design and the audio mixing. Anyway, back to the actual gameplay. The dynamic between them here is flawless. Jocelyn isn't just crying. She is weaponizing her fear. She is that fierce Spencer-Jax hybrid, channeling her mother Carly's absolute refusal to lose and her grandmother Bobby's street smarts. She is looking around that basement, analyzing the tools, the pipes, the layout. She's ready to go feral. And Dex, even while chained to a wall, is still trying to protect her, telling her to run, to leave him and save herself before Cassius comes back. As if she would ever do that. I am actually losing my sanity over here. I am losing my mind over his selflessness. He is literally bleeding out and his only thought is her safety. If that isn't true love, I don't know what is, no cap. And let's look at the broader implications of this. If Cassius is using Dex to blackmail Sonny, what happens when Sonny finds out? We already know Sonny's in a fragile, paranoid state. He just had a Rick at gunpoint. When Sonny realizes that his former enforcer, the guy he had such a complicated, volatile history with, has been tortured by a fake cop to get to him, Sonny's going to unleash a level of violence on Port Charles that we haven't seen since the 90s. The mob war is going to intersect with the Cassadine phase on spy drama. And the collateral damage is going to be astronomical. Carly's going to lose her mind when she finds out Jocelyn was just feet away from a chained-up Dex. Valentin, who is currently dealing with a paralyzed Jack Brennan in Carly's attic, is going to be dragged into this mess, too. I know some of the fandom is probably thinking, oh, they'll just get rescued by Dante or Jason. But no, I don't want a rescue. I want Jocelyn and Dex to break themselves out. I want them to use that total kinetic chaos energy. Smash Cassius over the head with a loose brick, and walk out of Windermere covered in dust and blood like absolute action heroes. They need this win. They have been kidnapped and tortured. They need to be the architects of their own survival. I am manifesting this so hard right now. The writers better not rob them of their agency in this escape plot. If Jason just kicks the door down and saves the day, I am legitimately filing a lawsuit for emotional damages. Let Jex be the badasses they were born to be. Wait, I just remembered another detail that makes this even more insane. Think about the timeline. While Jocelyn is down here discovering Dex, Michael's busy trying to push Willow and Chase into an affair, completely oblivious to the fact that his sister is fighting for her life in a literal medieval dungeon. The contrast between the petty custody drama and this life or death survival horror is giving me absolute whiplash. And what about Dante? He just confronted Lulu and Rocco, lashing out with extreme fury, totally unaware that the man he thinks this allied Nathan is currently running a torture chamber on Spoon Island. The dramatic irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. When the truth comes out, the explosion in Port Trawl is going to level the entire city. Facts. Besties. Can we unpack the audacity of the lead dub's crazy update history for a second? The writers have been laying the breadcrumbs for this for months. Every time Cassius disappeared off screen, every time Sunny got a cryptic message, every time Jocelyn looked out a window wondering where Dex went, it was all leading to this dark, damp, terrifying basement. It is a masterclass in long-term storytelling, and I have to give them their flowers. Even though I'm simultaneously ready to write over the emotional damage they're inflicting on us. I am manifesting a massive brain dump with the squad because holding this in is literally not an option. We need to dissect every single pixel of this escape plan. Will Jocelyn use the rusted pipe? Will Dex find a surge of adrenaline to break the chains? Honestly, I am a total contradiction right now because I am still reeling from that absolute heart-shattering defeat of seeing Dex broken. But I'm also riding a massive high of we are so back hype because the Jex reunion is finally happening. It is a messy mix of adrenaline, fury, and absolute stan behavior. Don't you think they should just burn Windermere to the ground once they get out? I legit think they should just torch the place and be